I say. There can be no salvation without sacrifice.
Hello and welcome, Exiles, to my prediction for the most overpowered thing for defenses in Path of Exile 2. I like to make predictions based on little information that may or may not pan out to be true or not. And this specifically is based on what I'm seeing, and I can't see it any other way, which is I think Energy Shield is going to be overpowered in Path of Exile 2. I'll break it down with a few persistent things I am seeing. Number one is percent ES is on the tree, whereas percent life is not. Now, a lot of people always ask me, and a lot of my characters, Lance, where are your damage mitigations when blah 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 for Fizz? And I say, I have so much energy shield, I don't need it. But at the same time, also, I have Flesh and Stone, 20 DR, Arctic Armor, 20 DR, and there's other sources of DR you can get in various places that end up adding up to a very good mitigation level for Fizz as well as other damage types because we have a large ES number. And the point is, I'm trying to make here, in PoE 2, I see that being the case as well, where you can get just such a large ES number compared to your life number. The scalability is such a far difference that I don't see how life base won't be much weaker in terms of possible tank than ES builds. Point number one, they have nodes on the tree like this: 40% energy shield, and then if you follow it up, 15%, 15%. And if you know anything about PoE 1, currently on the PoE 1 tree, percent ES is a lot rarer than that. The big nodes for PoE 1 trees are like 20% ES or 18% ES from a natural calm and arcane focus. There's nodes on the tree that give ES, but they don't give that much ES. So that's point number one. Percentages on the tree are higher than in PoE 1. It's probably going to be harder to scale a large int number, which also gives percent ES, but it still exists that there's a lot of percent ES on the tree, which means if you have a good flat number of ES, you can scale it up. There's no percent life on the tree, so already you have a much lower number versus a much bigger number because you can actually make the number get scaled up with percentages. Reason number two is that ES gear, from what I can see, seems like it's going to be fairly comparable to what we have in PoE 1. There was some showcases they did of a level 30 witch that picked up a chest piece that had 200 ES, and the base ES for that chest piece at a level 30 character was 100 something, which is more than a level 30 chest piece would have on a PoE 1. I looked at the comparable bases. The PoE 1 base was 30% less base ES. So to me, that suggests that the base ES numbers are going to be similar. If not, maybe they can be higher potentially in terms of the flat ES you're getting from gear. So number one is you can scale it with percent. Number two is the flat ES is there. And from what I can see, it's going to be a larger amount of flat ES you can get than an amount of flat life. The flat life rolls I have seen for PoE 2 are higher. For example, in Imperior's video, I saw a chest piece that could have up to 200 flat life, which in PoE 1, it goes up to 189. They mentioned Calms having 1,000 flat life. So the flat life is there, but the thing is, if you can get the same ES numbers, you can just get a higher base ES number. And then on top of that, you can get percent ES scaling, which would make it go higher. Point number number three I see is the Keystone combination that I'm seeing here. If it goes core like it is, seems extremely strong. I'm going to point out 3 Keystones to you. Number one is Chaos Inoculation. Number two is Eldritch Battery. And number 3 is Mind Over Matter. Where is the Keystone for Mind Over Matter? Am I blind? Mind Over Matter. It is in this list. It's right here. And I point out these 3 specific Keystones because number one is Chaos Inoculation makes you immune to chaos damage. From the things I've looked up about Energy Shield and PoE 2, it's a little bit different than PoE 1. Chaos damage deals double the damage to your ES, so that nullifies one of the weaknesses ES has. Number 2 is there's something about bleed bypassing ES. I've heard that offhand a couple different chats. I haven't been able to find any concrete information on it. To me, I don't know if that makes any sense. Surely they're going to give you, if they're making Chaos Inoculation make your life go to 1, they're going to give you a way to deal with, if there's damage that can bypass it, surely there's a way to get, a bleed immunity or something to deal with that, I would imagine. Otherwise, this Keystone wouldn't make any sense, because why would you click a Keystone that has a random ailment that can one-shot you at all times? It wouldn't make any sense. So it wouldn't make sense to go core with it being in that state. So I think you should be able to deal with the situation where there's something that could supposedly bypass your ES. Outside of that, anyways, cast inoculation. Make your life go to 1. Get a immunity to chaos damage, the weakness for ES builds. Number 2, Eldritch Battery. You can put ES on your mana pool. Now, normally, if you know PoE 1, CI Eldritch Battery is a big no-no. It basically just guarantees that you are going to get one shot. The key difference in this game is Mind Over Matter makes you take all damage from mana before life. So say you have 1,000 damage coming towards your 1 HP pool, it will redirect to your mana pool all of it, which means it will then have to go through your ES to get to your mana pool. So it's a way where you can click these 2 keystones together and get away with it. So as far as I'm concerned, or what I can tell, is I see a scenario where I get immunity to chaos damage. I don't have to gear chaos res. I can scale a very big ES number. And on top of that, I have my mana solved without having to invest into mana with just these 3 keystones. I'm thinking to myself, I have to be missing something. I don't think I am, but maybe I am. My things that are possibly missing is, number 1, Zealot's Oath is on the tree. Like, you need to be able to sustain your ES if you're going to do like an energy shield build. So Zealot's Oath still exists. As far as I can tell, Ghost Reader is still a thing where so you can still get ES Leech. So the big thing I'm wondering is, okay, I don't have any issue. I might not have any issues with sustaining ES. I can scale the number higher. I don't get it. I have to be missing something. Don't tell Mark about this because I hope it goes live because I'm definitely going to make an ES build. But what's the big kryptonite for ES builds? I'm thinking it might be stun, but outside that, I'm drawing complete blanks. It just seems really, really strong in terms of the potential tank threshold compared to what a life-based character can get, just because you can get the number to be a lot higher. If there's nodes on the tree that say 40%, 15%, 15%, and ES gear also can get similar numbers like it could in PoE 1, it's just going to have a higher base ES to begin with than life, and then you're going to get percentages which increase it further beyond the life build. I just don't see how those will compare in terms of this. Just seems like you get a bigger number, and then you can stack some mitigation layers on top of it, and you're just going to be a lot tankier than life builds. That's my theory about the thing that's going to be OP in PoE 2 on the early access is energy shield builds using those 3 keystones, unless there's the weird situation where bleed can bypass your ES, in which case you can't go CI and the whole plan falls apart. But that wouldn't make any sense, so we'll see what that is in PoE 2. We'll see if there's some weird stuff with ES, some things they changed. We don't really know, but that's my top prediction for PoE 2 is I think ES is going to be overpowered. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video with a little bit of a look into something I see as a strong potential or a vector of a defensive scaling. And keep in mind, I just want to point this out, it doesn't matter what class you pick, you can still invest into ES builds with enough points. There's always the thing where you can spec your tree and go around, or around the entire tree and start grabbing ES nodes on the other side. It might still work out depending on what your ascendancy is, how it supports it, etc. There's always been an element of PoE where you can make a Marauder a caster build, or you can make a champion a minion build. Like, there's always been that element where if the thing supports it and you are creative enough, you can make it work, and there's some potential there. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thanks for watching, Exiles. Take care and peace out. Have a good one.